Hey, Queens, what's going on? For those of you all who do not know me, my name is Maritza, and I love helping women become the best versions of themselves. Whether my notes here, y'all, so you may see me looking down. Why you may be blocking your blessing and missing out on the opportunity, that prize that we like to talk about in relation to being found by the man who is a great fit, and he then becomes our husband. And one of the reasons that you may be blocking that blessing has to do with not of course, we're talking where we've been in this space of forgiveness. So it has to do with forgiveness, but it was intimate partners, men that things have not worked out with us in the past. And because of that, we are holding on to them, sometimes consciously and in other times unconsciously. We are holding on to things that has happened, right? Have happened, tongue tied there, have happened in the past with them, that initially we were probably holding on to because we were angry, but we then got to a space where we were like, I'm gonna let him, I'm gonna let that go. I don't want to have him on my mind. And when I think about him and blah, 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 I get upset. I start thinking about this. I get depressed. Or I start, thinking destructively, different things, right? So we may have made that decision to stop even going down that road of thinking of them, and said, okay, I'm going to stop. I need to forgive as we grew, right? Realizing, okay, a lot of times in order for us to move past that person, we have to forgive them. And so we thought somewhere in there that we had gotten to a space of forgiveness with them. And then in actuality, we realized that I still got some issues there, because when I think about this situation, instead of me thinking of it as just that, a situation, I am tying that person to it, and I am still reflecting and thinking back on it in a non-healthy way. Instead of it being just a lesson, excuse me, you guys, instead of it just being a lesson that you can learn from and apply in your life in a healthy way, you are still latched in. And because of that, Queens, one of the things that happens is we don't realize, like I said, sometimes it's conscious, it's unconscious, and other times, right? But whether it's conscious or unconscious, being in that space of unforgiveness and not having the right level of healing from whatever situation, whatever circumstances happen that caused you all not to work out, you and the man, from your past. When you are in that space, eventually you have to take some accountability, Queens, and ask yourself, why am I not attracting, or why am I not ending up in relationships with, good quality men that could eventually lead into a husband, being married to them? And that's not to say like that you're not gonna meet and date some guys that are not good for you, right? Because that's part of the journey. That's part of the relationship journey. That's how we learn, right? But I'm saying that, when you really sit down and ask yourself, like, what's going on here? Why am I not in a better space now in my life? If you're an older woman, right? older, being 40 plus, right? Why is it not, like, why aren't things gelling? Like, because some of these guys really seemed like they were decent and they had a lot of the qualities that, I feel match up with the type of woman I am, that could lead for us to be in a strong relationship that could lead to marriage. One of the things that accountability helps you do is remember to own it. When you own it, you can control it, right? When you own that things aren't working out right, and something has to get better about me, then you can control the situation. The second is often it really is us. We have some inner work that we need to do, right? And we're not seeing it. And sometimes, y'all, that's purposely, right? Sometimes we're purposely ignoring it because it hurts too much, or the memories that it brings up, we aren't ready to deal with, right? And then sometimes it's not purposely, we're unconscious to it, right? But if we're not dealing with it, queens, what happens is that unforgiveness comes with a latching on of I just want you to think about it this way. Imagine seeing somebody or talking to one of your girls, and things that she says, things that she does, things that she doesn't do, decisions that she makes in her life about where she will go, who she'll hang out with, what she'll wear, where she'll travel, all those things, right? What intimacy looks like to her, what makes her angry, what brings her over the edge, all different kinds of things. Imagine your girl sitting there and you can see it like coming off of her by how she's responding to things, what she's saying, how she's living, how she looks, how she wears her makeup, how she dresses, all of those things and more, right? Oozing from her in her life, the way she's living her life, and she doesn't even see it, and it's all a reflection of the past men that she has dated, that she has not healed from. She has not allowed herself to forgive them in some instances, because she thinks that by forgiving them, again, we've talked about this, that's saying that what they did was okay. But in actuality, that's not the case. God has us to forgive for ourselves so that we can move on and we can have healthy relationships, so that we can have a healthy life, and so that people aren't remaining attached to us. In this instance, men from our past aren't remaining attached to us based off of the way that the circumstances that ended it with us. So if that could be them cheating, that could be them being abusive, that could be them not being serious about us and playing with our feelings and our emotions, and them saying cruel things to us, right? Things ending by them saying certain things about us, them taking advantage of us sexually, and not meaning by rape, right? That could be one of them, and not meaning a past molestation as a child, because that can even wrap itself in, right? Not even that, just saying them not them not handling us with care with our emotions, and misleading us into thinking that they were looking for more than just having sex with us. Those are just examples of what can be latched onto you. Now, those things, right? Or your friend, we're talking about your friend so that you can really absorb this. Imagine her responding to life based off of those things. And then she moves into a new relationship, and you happen to be hanging out with her, and you and somebody else, another guy, go on a double date with your friend and this new guy that she's been telling you about, and you can literally see her responses, her behaviors, all being generated based off of her past relationships that she hasn't released, in some instances purposely, and again in other instances not purposely, but just because she's remaining in a space of unforgiveness, so she's not completely healed from that situation or that person. And because of that, queens, now we're going to just talk. Because of that, a lot of times we mess up our situations with a really good guy, because he can see that. He can see all that hurt. He can see all that unforgiveness. He can see it. And it's a turn off to him, because he does not want to walk into the relationship dealing with those things, coming right into the relationship off the bat, new and fresh, and you a hot mess. Another way that it gets blocked is that we are just in a space where, we are messing it up for ourselves. We may be highly sexually active because we are trying to get them before they get us, right? So even though deep inside we desire a husband, and we desire a relationship that would lead to a husband, a quality man that is a great husband, we are doing things that are making men uncomfortable, making us unattractive, because he's thinking, wait a minute, she has sex with me real fast, so whoa, is she like this with every guy? Like, I don't want that for my wife. Because when you meet a man and he is ready for marriage and he is dating in search of a wife, there are certain things that are going to turn him off. And that is one of them, right? You being in a space where you're always starting arguments with him, right? Or you have insecurities around certain things, right? Like, it may be that, you're insecure of him with women, right? And everything is that he's cheating, right? Those things, queens, are important for us to work on, and if at all possible, have worked out and worked through to the best of our ability before we are in a relationship that could possibly lead to a husband, because they will cause dings. And if you don't have a strong man, or if he's just like, I done been through this before and I can't, then it could possibly destroy what could have been a great relationship. So I say that, and I use those examples to say, like, queens, it's important for you to forgive the men in your past who have hurt you to a point where you feel like, okay, I'm gonna, I need to hold on to this, because I don't want this to happen to me again, right? You are going to have to get to a place where you are healed, so that you can release them, so that when you are thinking about the thing that you're trying to remember just enough so that it, like, somebody doesn't play the game with you again, so that your antennas go up and you're like, okay, this doesn't look good. This looks like he's trying to go in this direction. Let me move along, right? You want to get to a point where you're thinking about the situation and the things that the things that show up that say to you, okay, you need to be careful, this could be that type of situation. You don't want to have that person that did that to you in your mind, because then you aren't to a place where you're just have learned from a situation. You're still thinking about that person. And that right there can be a dangerous thing that blocks you from the opportunity to be found by an incredible man that wants to marry you. So healing is super important, and it begins with forgiveness. Forgiving the person, even if they don't deserve it, because you deserve it. And you're going to hear me say that over and over and over again in all these forgiveness relational videos. Like, it is important for you to forgive, not for them, but for you. Not for them, but for you. Because it is designed that way. God has designed it that way, that if we don't forgive, then we are still latched in. And you don't deserve that. You don't deserve for somebody to have access to you in that way, that they can affect your future relationships, queen. You deserve better than that. You deserve a husband that is designed just for you. And you can't get to that if you're holding on to your past because of fear that this person right here that you haven't even given the opportunity to may do the same thing to you, or may be that person. That's not fair. It's not fair. And you wouldn't appreciate it if a man was doing it to you. You would be like, yo, I'm not that person. So why are you treating me that way? Well, queens, I hope that this has helped. And I'll see you soon. I love you with the love of the Lord. And later.